Ignoring people is not merely a social tactic, it is a profound exercise of power. To master this art is to wield control over your environment without overt aggression or confrontation. When someone seeks your attention, they are testing the boundaries of your influence. By responding impulsively, you hand them the power to dictate your actions, your focus, and ultimately, your emotional state. Silence, deliberate inaction, and selective engagement are weapons more potent than words. Those who fail to ignore often find themselves entangled in the whims of others, pulled into conflicts that serve no purpose but to drain their energy. In contrast, those who cultivate the ability to withhold response create a vacuum in which their authority grows. The world measures power not only by what one does, but by what one refuses to do. To ignore is to assert dominance without confrontation, to signal that you are not bound by ordinary social expectations. This is a strategy rooted in psychology. People value attention they cannot easily obtain. By withholding it, you increase your perceived worth, making every gesture of engagement a deliberate choice. The subtlety lies in consistency. Random ignoring can be interpreted as carelessness or weakness. True mastery requires controlled, strategic silence, an unwavering posture that communicates strength. Emotionally, ignoring serves as armor. Human interactions are fraught with manipulation, jealousy, and tests of loyalty. Responding to every provocation or demand leaves one vulnerable. By ignoring, you protect your mind, conserve your energy, and retain the clarity to act only when it aligns with your purpose. In professional and personal spheres alike, the practice of ignoring reshapes dynamics. People who chase recognition or validation are drawn to those who withhold it. This creates a hierarchy in which the ignored strive for acknowledgement while the one who withholds maintains authority effortlessly. It is the art of influence without pressure, of control without confrontation. Yet, it is not cruelty, but calculation. Ignoring is not meant to punish indiscriminately. It is a tool to guide behavior, to sculpt social landscapes in favor of those who wield it wisely. Misused, it can alienate allies and invite resentment. Mastered, it cultivates respect, fear, and strategic advantage simultaneously. Ultimately, the art of ignoring is about prioritization. Every interaction carries a cost, and attention is finite. By directing your focus selectively, you magnify your effectiveness and minimize distractions. This disciplined approach distinguishes leaders from followers, strategists from reactants, and those who command influence from those who merely exist within it. To ignore is to control not through force, but through absence. It is to shape perception, to command attention without giving it freely, and to rise above the trivialities that ensnare the unskilled. In mastering this ruthless power move, one gains not only authority over others, but mastery over oneself, navigating the social world with precision, strategy, and unassailable strength. Ignoring people is one of the most misunderstood yet powerful tools in human interaction. Many mistake it for arrogance or rudeness, but in reality, it is a deliberate exercise of strategy. When someone seeks your attention, whether through flattery, provocation, or complaint, they are probing the limits of your patience and your control. Every response you give is a concession. Every reaction signals that they have a claim over your time, your thoughts, and your energy. By withholding your response, by creating intentional distance, you seize control of the social dynamics without ever raising your voice. This power is subtle yet profound. In a world obsessed with noise and reaction, the silent observer holds an unmatched advantage. People reveal themselves when ignored. They show desperation, frustration, or sometimes genuine respect. The one who ignores sees the truth of character, because facades crumble when attention is denied. Ignoring is a test not only of others, but of oneself, requiring discipline, patience, and emotional fortitude. Reacting impulsively may feel satisfying in the moment, but it surrenders power, giving others the ability to dictate your reality. In practical life, ignoring reshapes relationships. Consider those who constantly seek validation, friends, colleagues, or competitors. When you respond to every query or demand, you reinforce the pattern, making yourself predictable and dependent on their agenda. Yet, by selectively ignoring, you invert the dynamic. Suddenly, your attention becomes valuable, and people adjust their behavior to earn it. This is not manipulation in the petty sense. It is strategic positioning. The art lies in knowing when to withhold and when to engage, ensuring that your energy is reserved for actions that truly matter. Ignoring is also a psychological shield. Human interactions are fraught with hidden agendas, envy, and provocations designed to unsettle or control. By responding to every slight, you allow others to penetrate your focus and disrupt your plans. Choosing silence, on the other hand, preserves mental clarity, fortifies self-discipline, and establishes a boundary that commands respect. People quickly learn that your attention is a resource and that it is neither freely given nor easily swayed. This forces them to engage on your terms. The strategic use of ignoring extends to professional arenas as well. Leaders, negotiators, and influencers understand that power is often conveyed through absence rather than presence. Consider the negotiator who does not immediately reply to demands, the manager who listens silently while others argue, or the public figure who withholds comment during controversies. Each instance is a demonstration of control. By refusing to react, one shapes perception, creates tension, and positions oneself above the fray. The attention of others becomes a currency, and by spending it selectively, one accumulates influence and authority. Emotionally, ignoring fosters resilience. Those who are constantly reactive are trapped in cycles of expectation, disappointment, and resentment. By choosing what to engage with, you cultivate a mental landscape of calm and precision. It is a way of disciplining the mind, teaching it to value reason over impulse. People who cannot be provoked are difficult to manipulate, and this creates a subtle but undeniable power. Moreover, ignoring allows for observation. When you refrain from immediate reaction, you gain clarity on motives, patterns, and vulnerabilities. You see who is genuinely persistent, who is opportunistic, and who respects boundaries. This knowledge is invaluable. In social dynamics, the one who acts first may lose sight of the bigger picture. The one who observes, waits, and chooses when to intervene shapes outcomes. It is the difference between being a pawn in others' games and being the architect of your own strategy. Strategic ignoring is also transformative in personal relationships. People often test emotional bonds, expecting immediate reactions to hurt, praise, or criticism. Those who can step back, remain silent, and engage only when necessary maintain emotional dominance. It does not breed indifference, but rather cultivates selective presence, being fully present when it counts, absent when it does not. This careful calibration fosters respect, creates intrigue, and ensures that interactions carry weight rather than being wasted on trivialities. In social hierarchies, ignoring elevates status. Human beings are drawn to what is scarce and hard to attain. Attention, acknowledgement, and validation are forms of social currency. By denying them arbitrarily or strategically, you increase their perceived value. People chase what they cannot easily obtain. This is why the person who ignores is often unconsciously admired, envied, or even feared. The subtlety lies in consistency. Sporadic ignoring may appear capricious, but deliberate and sustained restraint signals mastery. Ignoring also redefines conflict. Arguments, provocations, and rivalries often thrive on reaction. By refusing to participate, you redirect the energy of confrontation away from yourself. The silent stance frustrates aggressors, undermines manipulation, and shifts the momentum in your favor. It is a demonstration of psychological strength, an assertion that you are not bound by the petty demands or insecurities of others. In this, ignoring becomes not just a tactic but an art form, blending patience, timing, and perception. Furthermore, the mastery of ignoring is a lifelong practice. It requires self-awareness, discernment, and emotional intelligence. Not every slight request or challenge deserves inaction, but the disciplined mind knows which battles are worthy. By investing energy selectively, one magnifies effectiveness, influence, and control. It is a distinction between reacting and directing, between being controlled and being sovereign. Ultimately, the ruthless art of ignoring is about agency. It is a recognition that your time, focus, and energy are finite and precious. Every interaction carries a potential cost, and by mastering absence, you ensure that your presence is never wasted. To ignore is to shape perception, to command attention without exertion, and to cultivate a domain of strategic influence. It is both shield and weapon, subtle yet undeniable, psychological yet practical. Through consistent practice, ignoring becomes instinctive, transforming social dynamics in ways that overt action rarely achieves. The world is full of noise, distraction, and emotional manipulation, but the one who ignores navigates these currents with clarity, precision, and quiet authority. This is the power that Machiavelli recognized centuries ago, the ability to control outcomes, assert dominance, and safeguard self-mastery not through confrontation, but through absence. In mastering this technique, one gains freedom, the freedom to act intentionally, the freedom to conserve strength, and the freedom to command respect effortlessly. Ignoring is not passive, it is the deliberate assertion of control, a strategic dance in which absence speaks louder than words and silence conveys more than action ever could. Those who understand this wield a dark, unassailable power. The power to shape not just others' behavior, but the very flow of events on their own terms. Ignoring people is one of the most underestimated forms of power in human society. It is often mistaken for indifference, arrogance, or coldness, yet it is, in truth, a deliberate and sophisticated strategy to assert control. Those who demand your attention are testing boundaries, probing your patience, and seeking to influence your decisions. Every immediate response you give is a concession, a subtle surrender of authority. By choosing silence, by withholding engagement, you create a vacuum in which your power silently expands. The world rewards those who can act without being acted upon, who respond with strategy rather than impulse. The first principle of this art is patience. Many fall into the trap of reacting emotionally to provocations, insults, or manipulations. The one who reacts first shows vulnerability. They give the other person leverage over their emotions and action. Silence, in contrast, is not emptiness. It is a tool. It forces others to reveal themselves, their intentions, and their weaknesses. When ignored, people often expose their desires, insecurities, and motivations in ways they would never do under constant attention. This knowledge is invaluable. The one who ignores observes, calculates, and positions themselves to act at the most advantageous moment. Ignoring is also a way to conserve energy. Every human interaction carries a hidden cost, emotional, psychological, or strategic. By responding only when it aligns with your objectives, you preserve mental clarity and focus. The world is full of distractions, social obligations, trivial disputes, and manipulative individuals seeking leverage. Responding to every demand depletes your power. By selectively engaging, you retain strength, control your resources, and dictate the tempo of your life. This is not laziness. It is strategic allocation. Psychologically, ignoring changes the perception of value. People naturally desire what is scarce and difficult to obtain. By withholding attention, by being selectively present, you increase your perceived importance. Your acknowledgement becomes a prize rather than a given. Those who chase validation will adjust their behavior, striving to earn what you control. This is subtle influence at its most powerful. Without confrontation, without overt manipulation, you shape the behavior of others through absence. In professional settings, ignoring is equally potent. Leaders, negotiators, and strategists understand that power is conveyed as much by what one refuses to do as by what one does. The manager who does not immediately respond to complaints, the negotiator who withholds judgment, the leader who stays silent while observing, each projects authority and self-control. The world responds not just to action, but to perception. By choosing when to engage, you influence the narrative, control the conversation, and shape outcomes to your advantage. Ignoring is also a shield against manipulation. Human interactions are often tests, subtle psychological probes designed to unsettle, provoke, or control. By responding to every test, you surrender the initiative. Silence, by contrast, establishes boundaries that others must respect. It teaches them that your focus, your energy, and your attention are yours alone to dispense. The aggressive, the manipulative, and the needy find themselves frustrated, exposed, and, ultimately, less capable of influencing you. This is the quiet strength that Machiavelli recognized centuries ago, the ability to control others through strategic inaction. The mastery of ignoring requires awareness and consistency. Random or impulsive neglect can appear as carelessness or weakness. True mastery is deliberate and measured. It is the ability to know when to remain silent, when to step back, and when to engage. This selectivity transforms the dynamics of influence. People begin to value interactions with you, treating your engagement as meaningful, rare, and significant. In social hierarchies, this elevates status effortlessly. The ignored become attentive, the unworthy wait for acknowledgement, and you, by contrast, remain sovereign over attention itself. Ignoring is also a form of observation. By stepping back, you see patterns, motives, and vulnerabilities that those immersed in reaction cannot perceive. People reveal their true nature when denied immediate response. Desperation, patience, persistence, or opportunism all become visible. In these moments, you gain insight into who respects boundaries, who seeks advantage, and who is merely reactive. This knowledge informs strategy, allowing you to act decisively at the right moment rather than being swept along by impulse. Emotionally, ignoring cultivates resilience. Reactivity is often rooted in dependency on approval, acknowledgement, or confrontation. By breaking this cycle, you develop independence of mind and clarity of purpose. Those who cannot provoke you lose leverage. You become less susceptible to manipulation, less likely to be drawn into unnecessary conflict, and more capable of navigating the world on your own terms. Emotional mastery and strategic ignoring are inseparable. One cannot exist without the other. Ignoring also transforms conflict. Many disputes thrive on engagement. Provocation, retaliation, and argument feed on reaction. By refusing to participate, you redirect the energy of conflict away from yourself. This is not passive avoidance, it is strategic redirection. You create a psychological imbalance in which the aggressor expends energy while you remain calm, detached, and in control. Silence becomes a weapon, absence a statement, and non-engagement a demonstration of dominance. The art extends to personal relationships. Not every slight, request, or emotional test warrants a response. By withholding engagement in trivial matters, you focus attention on interactions that truly matter. Selective presence communicates value, reinforces boundaries, and cultivates respect. People learn that your attention is not freely given, and that when it is offered, it carries weight. This is a subtle but profound way to shape relationships, ensuring that interactions are meaningful and purposeful. Mastery of ignoring is also a long-term investment. It requires observation, emotional discipline, and patience. It is not about being unkind or distant. It is about controlling the flow of influence, conserving energy, and ensuring that your actions align with strategic goals. The one who ignores consistently commands respect and often fear, not through intimidation, but through the quiet assertion of control. In this, the practitioner elevates themselves above the fray, acting as architect of events rather than a pawn in the games of others. Ultimately, ignoring is a declaration of agency. It affirms that your time, focus, and energy are finite and valuable. Every interaction carries potential cost, and by choosing when to engage, you assert control over outcomes. The one who ignores transforms absence into power, silence into strategy, and restraint into dominance. This is the dark, unassailable force that Machiavelli celebrated. The ability to shape reality, command attention, and preserve self-mastery, all without confrontation. In mastering this art, you achieve freedom, the freedom to act deliberately, the freedom to conserve strength, and the freedom to wield influence effortlessly. To ignore is to control perception, to direct behavior, and to rise above the trivial reactive currents that ensnare the unskilled. Absence becomes your tool, silence your statement, and selective engagement your ultimate weapon. In the hands of a master, ignoring is not passive. It is the most ruthless and precise power move of all. Through consistent practice, this art becomes instinctive. The silent observer navigates the complexities of social life with calm authority, making decisions unclouded by provocation, distraction, or manipulation. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to shape reality. Every moment of silence a reinforcement of control. Those who understand this wield not just influence, but autonomy, commanding respect, fear, and attention on their own terms. This is the essence of Machiavelli's dark power. The ruthless, disciplined, and intelligent use of ignoring is both shield and sword, a strategy that endures beyond centuries, and one that defines the difference between those who react to life and those who orchestrate it.